Hey YouTubers, it's Charlie. So even more new Thor Ragnarok stuff learned from the set. Thor post-credits scene where they meet Doctor Strange. This is going to be a breakdown of what's going on because Loki is part of that too. This is actually a pretty big deal. It's one thing to see them walking around on set, but to reveal a detail like this is just like dropping a bomb in the middle of the fandom. So at some point during Thor Ragnarok or at some point during Doctor Strange, we will see them meet up. And I know that Thor is holding this, so like very clearly he's going to talk to Doctor Strange about the Infinity Gems, but Loki looks like he's here too because he's sitting in plain clothes with Thor. So for all of you who were hoping for a Loki Doctor Strange meetup on screen, it looks like we're gonna get it way sooner than you ever expected. And if you haven't read the comics, just to make this clear, Loki is a magic user just like Doctor Strange. Now, the type of magic that they practice is a little bit different in the comics, but you can understand how the movies would just combine those two things. Like, all magic users tap into the same type of energy. In fact, Loki's mother, Frigga, or Thor and Loki's mother, Frigga, is the one that taught him to use magic. That's why he's so close to her. A lot of people actually felt like it was one of those parental things where like one parent favors the other child. So like Frigga liked Loki more than she liked Thor, and Odin liked Thor more than he liked Loki. So it's very Shakespearean. That's kind of the way they spun the first Thor movie, but they've slowly kind of moved away from that. But you get the idea. When you watch Thor the Dark World, you get the idea that Loki really loved his mother when the Dark Elves killed her. That's what turned him back onto Thor's side. Even though we got that tease at the end where he's like, okay, I'm gonna impersonate Odin and have all the fun that I want in Asgard. But from the looks of it, it looks like this is happening towards the end of the Thor story, like by the time that Loki is back working with Thor because of whatever happens during Thor Ragnarok. So for the sake of argument, we'll say that Thanos does something really terrible. Loki learns that what he's planning on doing is worse than what life will be like under Thor, so he's like, okay, I might as well help Thor in the Avengers now. I'll help him find Doctor Strange. It would make sense that one magic user would know how to find another magic user. So I know we haven't seen the Doctor Strange movie yet, but the Sanctum Sanctorum, like the place that he's looking for, that address that's on his little card there, can only be accessed through magical means. You can't just walk up and knock on the door. So I like the idea that we're gonna see Loki practice a little bit of magic during Thor Ragnarok too. Like, let me open the door here so you can knock and meet your new Avenger friend. Because depending on when this scene happens in the timeline, Doctor Strange will have already been aware of the Avengers, already be trying to help them, but presumably it's happening sometime after the end of Doctor Strange because that movie's coming in November. So like even if they attach this to the end of Doctor Strange, if they're filming a Thor post-credits scene to attach to the end of Doctor Strange, which I don't think they're doing, he would already still be Sorcerer Supreme. So what I'm thinking is that this scene here where Thor and Loki meet Doctor Strange is actually going to be like a mid-credit sequence at the end of Thor Ragnarok that teases Avengers Infinity War. But if you guys saw my last movie, I talk about how actually it's Black Panther is the next movie in the timeline after Thor Ragnarok. So I think they're just compressing the timeline. So like the end of Black Panther will also be like in the same moments as the end of Thor Ragnarok. So either way, I think we could probably agree that this is happening at the end of Thor Ragnarok, or at least around there in the timeline. I don't think they're actually shooting footage for Infinity War, but this would explain how Loki ends up working with the Avengers during Infinity War, because he'd be one of the only people who could help Thor find Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange has a much more cosmic understanding of the ramifications of what Thanos is trying to do, what could possibly happen. He just has a broader understanding of existence than Thor, but I feel like most people understand more about the universe than Thor. That's always kind of been the characterization. He is very smart, very good warrior, but Loki has always known so much more. Like Loki knows all the in and out points from Asgard. Like there's only a couple different places that you can travel out of Asgard unknown. So Thor, not the cleverest or sneakiest of Asgardians. That's why he always has this look on his face, angry and confused. But let me know in the comments, do you think that this Thor, Loki, Doctor Strange meetup is going to be a mid-credit sequence for the end of Thor Ragnarok? And if you don't know the difference between a mid-credit sequence and a post-credit sequence, they're kind of the same thing, but not really. A mid-credit sequence happens like at the very tail end of a movie. They have like a version of the credits with a bunch of graphics. It looks really flashy. It's like right after the end of the movie. Then this pops up like, oh, it's like a little tag at the end with the same characters from that movie. The traditional post-credit scenes that you see in Avengers films is always like another group of characters from a different film. So if we see a Thor Ragnarok post-credit scene, it might be like the Guardians of the Galaxy or like a different group of characters that weren't really a part of Thor Ragnarok. But by the time Thor Ragnarok drops in theaters, we'll have already seen most of the Phase 3 movies, so anything's up for grabs for Thor Ragnarok post-credit scene. But I feel like at that point, they will be pushing Avengers Infinity War stuff as hard as possible. But this is so awesome. They filmed this outdoor scene in Brisbane, so this is doubling for New York City. Looks like he's standing like right outside where the Sanctum Sanctorum's gonna be. Obviously, there's gonna be a lot of CG because Brisbane doesn't look anything like the streets of New York, so they'll change this in post-production. But they took a whole bunch more pictures on set. There's a bit of an Easter egg here for Taika Waititi films. So this character here is actually somebody that appeared in the Thor Ragnarok Comic-Con footage. His name is Barry. They shot this funny documentary that I've talked about in a couple of my other videos, just as a funny way to explain what Thor was doing during Civil War. Like, look, he was just living with this person named Barry, trying to figure out who the purple man in the chair was, what was going on with the glove that he wore with all the jewels in it. Just, like a really funny way to say, hey, this is what's going to be happening during Thor Ragnarok. But now it actually looks like Barry really is in the movie, like this funny character that they invented. So I'll be interested to see how he works in, but he might be like the Darcy type character from Thor the Dark World. She was kind of in the movie as a way to offer some comedic relief, and they've been teasing that Thor Ragnarok is going to be one of the funniest Marvel movies so far, even though technically it's not a comedy. I just did a video where Mark Ruffalo talks about it as like a buddy road trip comedy. I'll link that at the end of this, but I'm just really excited for this. They're getting super comic booky with the movies, so if you like them doing really weird, funny stuff, you are going to be blown away by this. But speaking of really funny, weird stuff, James Gunn posted some concept art that appeared in the Guardians of the Galaxy Comic-Con footage, so I'm going to do a video for that next. But you just see them fighting a space monster, you get a better look at Dancing Baby Groot, but this monster is actually part of the plot of Guardians of the Galaxy 2, so I'll explain that when I post that video tonight. So be sure to subscribe to get that. And there is a new round of the giveaway that's going on now too. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and leave a comment on this video. So new Dancing Baby Groot posting later tonight. While you guys wait for that to post, you can click here for that Mark Ruffalo Thor Ragnarok behind the scenes video where he talks about Hela, and you can click here for my Daredevil Season 3 teaser trailer. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Let's high five. I'll see you guys tonight.